That gun vacuum cleaner.
I got its own, so just go ahead and run it. Run
Okay.
it. Start it.
I'm trying
I
right
think
now.
it is so cute.
Hey, we as everybody sees, we live out our marriage on Facebook.
So does Jerry and I sometimes because he says and does the craziest things. Jerry, can you see us? Then he's
Jerry, come
looking
on.
at us. Then he
Yeah,
looks at us
not here.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, you mean on the Facebook or on?
Oh my God! Like
Oh, there you are.
we're
See,
rusty.
I
We're
didn't refresh.
rusty. Okay. Okay. We're here. We're here.
I like the way you put the door in the back.
I know.
I just now noticed that.
I am like because now that we're like vaccinated, we can sit a little bit
70.
closer.
So I think you're 65% after the first one, and I'm 95% after two. So 70, that's roughly like 75% vaccinated. So you're supposed to be at 3 feet. I think that brings us down to like
Okay.
1.5 feet. I think we're absolutely fine.
So, okay. So, everybody, this is Felicia, and I was supposed to name this session with you, and I told you a long time ago what I wanted your talk show to be. I wanted to be shooting the
Oh no
with Shat.
no. It's still Jonesboro. What's the church community?
So it's not shooting the with Shat.
No, we got to come up with
Okay,
something a little bit
chatting
more.
with Shat.
Sounds better.
Okay, everyone. So here I am. I'm Felicia. I am going to bring back the one-on-ones. We are getting vaccinated. Andy's
Fully.
vaccinated. I'm half vaccinated. But that together certainly has got to help us here. I think it's really important that we continue to talk to our community leaders and figure out what we're doing, how to do it together. And so I wanted to start with Andy Shatley. Andy, hi, my friend.
Hello, how are you?
I'm glad to be able to touch you. The last time I couldn't touch you. Hi. What's up? Just not. I don't want to talk about the mayoral race or anything. What's up with Shatley? What's up with the family?
Well, for the last 2 months, I feel like I've been living out of a suitcase because a younger daughter plays JO volleyball.
Yeah.
And we've been hot and heavy on the road. We haven't played any tournaments in Arkansas because of a lot of the
Where you been?
restrictions. We've been in South Haven, fixing to go back there for the fourth or fifth time.
Okay.
And South Haven's getting all of our money.
Okay.
Cape Girardeau. We've been to Cape Girardeau. They getting our money. We've been to Benton. Benton got our money twice. So that's one of the things that I have, kind of tried to push, and I hope
we're not there yet.
Okay. Well, everybody knows that
we're not there.
Okay.
My talk show.
That's what we've been doing.
Okay.
Been burning up the road. I have, through the campaign, obviously, kind of divided attention between our, sports medicine world and physical therapy and trying to run for mayor at the same time, which is a pretty arduous process. But now fully back into my original passion of helping people in the rehab services, and I love what I do. And there are a lot of challenges that we are going to be facing in our program that I'm absolutely excited about. There's things that are going to happen on the horizon this year in our program that is really going to be doing some cool things for patients and our employees and our system. So I'm super excited about that.
You always seem to have so much going on.
I have to have something. I'm a carrot chaser. I have to have something going on. I want to be passionate about something. Give me something that is worth my energy and that is beneficial for the whole and beneficial for my family or whatever. And give me something. Let's go do it. Let's go do something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how are the girls? Your
Wonderful.
baby girls, not Misty.
Ava is 15. She's driving around town.
Oh, come on, Ava. Where's she working?
She's working at Lost Pizza.
Oh, come on, Ava.
She's got a closet full of money. She's probably got more money than I do now.
Make it rain,
That's
Ava.
right.
I'm gonna come over. Can I borrow something?
And then Sky, she goes to VPA, and she's
doing well.
Wonderful. Yes, her. Most people know that she has finished up with her cancer treatment at St. Jude, and we're so grateful to have such.
You posted about that this week.
Unbelievable resource just across the river at St. Jude. So we've been very blessed there, and she's doing great. Back in school, all A's.
Good.
Playing volleyball. She's one of the lead roles in their little musical at their school, and she's a very talented kid. She's a wonderful kid.
I'm proud for you.
Wonderful.
And so, of course, your Misty is one of my good friends.
And yeah, you know her very well.
I would ask you how Misty is, but I know how Misty is.
She'll tell you
because you got a message from her that said,
"Run the vacuum cleaner.
Run the vacuum cleaner," and she clapped, which means what?
Do it now. Do it now.
So, hi, Misty. Okay, so let's get down to it.
Yeah.
You did not win the Jonesboro mayoral race, but you did win.
I think so. I mean, if you want to look at it, and I wasn't elected,
You were
but
elected.
there's a lot of things that we were able to help draw attention to in Jonesboro. And really, at the end of the day, whoever ended up getting elected, I think the issues that we were able to focus on were the issues that were needed to focus on. And it kind of forced all the camps to focus on those things. That's one of the good things about elections is hopefully your candidates choose topics that are needed to be discussed. And then whoever's elected, now you're charged with addressing all those things that got brought up in the campaign. So, the pressure's on, kind of the onus and the responsibilities on now whoever the public chooses to represent them. Now here's the reasons and here's the things that we want you to do. So to be able to contribute to that process and the deciding of what things that we're going to discuss and focus on the next 4 years. I mean, I think that all the candidates, Tom and me and Cope, I mean, we were all able to contribute. And then it's kind of like, okay, who's going to take the baton for the next 4 years? And I think that's great that we all got to contribute in each of our own fashions. And so that was the exciting part to me that didn't get elected, but you can look and see kind of your footprint of certain issues that are going to be addressed in the future and feel like that you contributed in some fashion. So I do want to say, before we get on, I want to say that fully support Mayor Copenhaver and am very excited about some of the things that I've already seen in his campaign because once again, the narratives were drawn out during the campaign and he's really taken those and he's really trying to address those. And so very excited about some of the things he's already done, some of the people he's put in place, some of the things that he's made a priority, totally agree with, and very excited to see how he goes about accomplishing those tasks.
I'm proud of you, Andy.
Yeah.
Proud for you too. I want to know what you learned about Andy that you didn't know before during this race.
One of the things, and I didn't know you were going to ask that question, but I will tell you, one of the things that I will tell you, I didn't know enough about different people in Jonesboro.
What do you mean different people?
Well, when sometimes you get stuck in the circle of people that you're around, like either your job or the people you're hanging out with or the activities you're in, and that's all the people that you really know, and you don't really know what's going on outside of that. You feel like you know, and then until you really sit down with people and say, what is it like to be you? Where do you live? What is your daily life? And then you start asking those questions, and you realize there's a lot of things that are going on in Jonesboro that I don't know about. And you can read about it all you want to, but until you really talk about, ask somebody to share with me your experience with Jonesboro,
Come to the table.
You don't know.
You don't know.
So I learned so much about the different people in Jonesboro, the different things that are going on, and the different experiences that are not my experience.
Right.
That was the most eye-opening, and I that's the biggest takeaway, that I now feel like I know more about what's happening in Jonesboro than I ever did.
Good. So then, would it be fair to say to you, and this is kind of a challenge, but not meaning it to be a challenge. Here, let me take that off because it's bothering me.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think you would have ever known what you know now about the different pockets of people, the different pockets of Jonesboro, had you not run for mayor?
There's no way.
Okay. So then, how do the rest of us who aren't going to run for public office, how do we come to that?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Certainly you want to be involved in boards and commissions and committees that are diverse. And there's lots of, we've always discussed there's diversity is an interesting word. It kind of depends on what you want to talk about. But you need to get around in different areas of town and different sectors. Like that you're in real estate. Well, why don't you go be on the Parks and Recs committee? Because you learn something about, or your school board or something, to learn a little bit about places and people that you wouldn't ordinarily come into contact with. You certainly have to push your boundaries. You have to get outside of your comfort zone. You have to be okay with walking up to somebody you've never met and say, hey, tell me about yourself. Tell me where you're from. How'd you get here? What do you do? And you have to be genuinely interested. So I think that if anybody really wanted to do that, the opportunities are out there.
Okay. Okay. So I love watching you on Facebook and on the social media. And I love how you are just this much petty.
Yeah, I got to be careful because sometimes, things can be taken the wrong way.
Now wait a minute though. I didn't say it was bad because like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
this much petty.
yeah. I
You're
think it's
like
okay.
you're
I
this much petty.
I want I try to challenge status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to push the envelope a little bit on the
Mm-hmm.
conversations that some people may not be comfortable talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes it's hard to balance some of those conversations because they can kind of get out of hand.
I know
And
people are crazy.
well,
No, I know you're a politician, but we are, including me. Sometimes I go back and read some stuff. I'm like, holy mother of everybody, who wrote that?
Yeah. And there's sometimes where I've had to apologize and kind of pull back. Someone's like, oh, I have to reread what I said. And I've said that multiple times.
Yeah.
Somebody said, listen, I don't like what you just said or whatever. And I'll go back and reread it and go, okay, after, considering that. And I think that is important for all of us to be able to do that. And that's a bit of a lost art to think, when I put something on there, by golly, I'm going to ride this thing all the way down. And that's where you end up with polarization and kind of extreme positions. We never can find common ground. So I really try to mediate discussions about, we've talked about lots of different things. We've talked about abortion. We've talked about stand your ground laws. We've talked about some different things that are coming down in Little Rock or things that happen in Jonesboro that are heavy talk. But if you can't talk about them, who gets to decide how things are?
So then let's talk about it. Stand your ground. Talk.
Well, it got signed into legislation, so that's certainly going to happen. My hope is that they can follow that up with some legislation that protects all populations in Arkansas.
Why do you think, or what is your point of view on why push that and then follow it up with protections? Why not put it in the bill?
Yeah, I don't know. I know that specific bill they've been trying to run that for the last couple of years, and so now I don't pretend to know all there is to know about running legislation, but it seems to be like you try it one year, it doesn't work, tweak it a little bit, try it again the next year, keep trying, and so it looked like it was destined to happen this year because it had pretty overwhelming support in the House and the Senate, and then the governor signed it into law. So cross our fingers that nothing bad happens after. That's all. That's all I can do now because it's in the law. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, Andrew. I guess you know how I feel about that.
I do.
Petty.
I do.
Okay, I got another something I want to talk to you about. You own I don't remember if it was on your page or whatever. In one of your comments, I don't remember, but you said something about all my
comments.
all of the people who came to me and supported me face to face, quietly in the dark, but then came out in the light something else.
Yeah.
What has that been like though?
Well, politics are different. It's a different animal, and I signed up for that. And politics is not like daily life. Once you get to the point of backing candidates and monetarily backing candidates, sometimes there's a lot that goes into that. There's businesses, there's connections, there's relationships, and that's just politics is different. It's completely different. So there's not a set of rules how that works, and I understood that, and I get it, and that's what it is. What it is.
I have this question, and this is for people that are younger than us, people that are looking to people like you and the mayor and our city council people. And when we hear you and people in Congress, U.S. Congress, U.S. Senate say politics is a different animal.
It is.
And our alliances are different because of this, and that. That sounds like shady stuff. That sounds petty. How do we get our Black and brown communities involved in politics when seems so hateful,
right,
and so divisionary?
Conversations. That's the only thing. You got to keep coming back to that, and people willing to have conversations and understand where somebody else is coming from. So if I show up to the table like we talked about and I have a conversation with you, and you and I see completely different opinions on a topic, if I come into the room knowing good and well I'm not going to change my position, why do I even have the conversation? So you have to be willing to consider that your position may not be right.
Hmm.
And that's humility.
You
And
have to
so
consider that your position.
may not be the best, may not be the best position. And that is not an American way of approaching things. Um, that is certainly not a way of finding common ground. And the statesmanship that existed back 30 and 40 years ago, to where there's a historical migration track that you can look at on the House side, and Republican, Democrat, or whatever, and the amount of crossover votes over 40 and 50 years ago were dramatically more than they are now, to where now the parties are so divided that if you crossed over and voted for the other side, you were a traitor, and you're going down in the primary next year. So it's certainly created a hyperpolarization amongst the parties, and there is no middle ground anymore. I think you're going to see some candidates try to seek middle ground, because once the parties get so wide, it kind of opens up that middle ground for somebody to either run independent or to kind of slide to that middle, because people, I think, are going to be looking to have that conversation, say, how, if we're so far apart, there's no way for us to reach over here. So we can't get too far apart, and we can't have those conversations, because you're going to go into the room saying, there's nothing you can do to change my position. And I don't think we need to be there. I don't think that's healthy.
So let's kind of pivot to something else. So you said that you and Misty and the girls are spending a lot of time out of town with JVO.
Junior Olympics volleyball. Yeah, that's
JOV.
right. Yeah, that's right.
I was a cheerleader.
Yeah. Well, Misty was too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
She's
JVO,
All-American.
JOV.
Misty's All-American cheerleader.
I was a state champ.
Okay. She got to cheer at the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade.
I was a state champ.
We still have the white M jersey that hangs in our closet that says M on it for Macy's Day.
Misty, always stealing my thunder. Stealing my thunder.
Love my wife.
I love your wife. So y'all are in South Haven, you're in Benton, and you specifically said that South Haven is getting a lot of your business right now. Why?
Well, there's two things. One, COVID. The Arkansas's restrictions were a lot more stricter than some of the other outlying states, and that's a whole different topic.
Does that mean that
there were in Arkansas, the volleyball tournaments, they weren't allowing spectators into the facility.
And where would those have been?
Little Rock. Well, let's see. Little Rock, Jonesboro. The one in Jonesboro got canceled. Fort Smith, Northwest Arkansas. Those are some of the places that host a lot of volleyball tournaments. In the state of Arkansas, they weren't allowing spectators. So the parents were actually taking your kid to the volleyball game, watching in the parking lot on your phone. So they kind of defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
So a lot of the teams were seeking out state, Missouri, Mississippi, and Tennessee to get outside of Arkansas to play. So we spent a lot of time in South Haven.
So
that's one reason. The other reason was that in Jonesboro, we don't have a facility big enough to host. Well, we do, the Convocation Center, and I think Kelly Dampus is probably going to see if there's something that we can do. That was the original intent of the Convocation Center being built back in 1984, 5, or whatever, 6, somewhere around there.
How old were you then?
We just moved to Jonesboro. I was about 7 or 8 years old. I remember driving down Stadium Boulevard, and they put the Christmas tree on top of the last little deal, how they do in steel. I remember seeing that little bit Christmas tree on top of the Convocation Center before they closed it all up. So things been around a long time, and it was originally built for the community and Arkansas State University to use. So hopefully we can get back to that and host a large volleyball tournament there.
So I know that lots of people in Jonesboro say that we need more attractions for families, our kiddos, and for people that live outside of Jonesboro to want to be here in Jonesboro. And a lot of those things that we talked about seem to revolve around sports in Jonesboro.
Well, I mean, your communities, strong, vibrant, stable communities should revolve around kids, because it's kind of the old adage about how do you grow church membership. You have a great nursery, a great children's program, and a great youth program. Because
that what the adage is?
Yeah, the kids bring the parents, and the parents bring the grandparents. So you start focusing on kids, and it changes your dynamics of everything. And you also, that is the stability of as the generations move through your town.
So you were a big supporter of, and we're not talking Team Jonesboro, I'm just saying of Team Jonesboro that was pushing some of these things.
Right, to be able to find a revenue source to have these type of facilities,
So what I want to talk about is the politics in that. I know for me, it was hard for me to get behind that because I understand wanting more things for people here and to bring more people in, but I also understand that there is a need still here in Jonesboro. And so if we're talking, tell me something we won't.
Well, I think the things
I just said one thing, Andy.
the indoor sports complex
Okay.
is one of the things
Okay.
that continues to come up in my conversations. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say, and I don't know how it all goes, I'm just saying somebody runs a sales tax to do these things. Why can't we run that, hey, we're going to build this, but we're also going to do things in our black and brown communities?
Well, it needs to go. I mean, it needs to go hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Then let's do this so that we can do this over here.
Well, it is important whenever you build government subsidized infrastructures that it benefits as many people as possible. It's certainly important, and bringing multiple people to the table to understand, okay, how can this money that everybody has contributed to, how can we benefit as many people as possible on each project, or this project benefits this. I mean, you have to cut. Everybody has to have a benefit because that's what it's for.
Right.
The infrastructure is for, and it's paid by taxpayers, and so then all taxpayers should feel some sort of benefit from it.
So, how do we do this?
You need to be on the committees that decide all the stuff.
Oh. So there's committees that decide stuff. So how do people get on committees?
Well, first of all,
that decide
and during that deal, there was a what was it, integrity oversight integrity committee. So yeah, it's important to be in the room whenever the priorities.
Do you
being
see the way
made.
I'm looking at you?
I do.
We're gonna just move on.
Okay.
We'll talk to Andy about that after this show.
Yep.
Okay, moving on.
Commissions, committees, boards.
Who puts up who? How do we know that there are commissions, committees, boards?
On the city's website, every one of those are listed, and there's every member of them are listed, and when they expire, their terms expire.
I hear you about the city, but let's just talk Team Jonesboro.
Okay.
Let's just talk. That wasn't a city thing. That wasn't a political thing. So how would we know how to talk to the players, how to come to you, how to go to whoever and say, hey, I think this is great. Can we also look at that? That's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
Wait, let me finish. Okay. I'm not talking about the elected officials that have to put stuff, but I'm talking about the stuff that happens in your house and my house. When we get together and we say, this is what we want, this is how we're going to push it.
I really hope, and I think Mayor Copenhaver is going to do a good job over the next 4 years of engaging the everyday citizen and giving them a voice, and also showing the individual that has a great idea, here's the process of bringing that to the forefront. I think it's imperative to give a voice and an avenue to anybody who has a good idea, and allow them to an opportunity to speak and voice that idea and move it forward.
So, Andrew, you're not going to answer my question.
So,
how do we bring people in after the back room conversation has already been had?
I can't even answer that because I don't even know what conversations are being had. So, I mean, unless I know that there's a back room conversations that I've never been invited to, by the way, I don't know. So I hope they're not, and I hope that everything is on the up and up, and I hope that everything's happening in front of everybody because that's what it should happen.
Such a good answer. You stick with it.
Sticking to it.
I've made him blush over here. Okay, so one of the last things that I want to talk about with you is one of the goals that I had of kind of doing this was because I kind of felt paralyzed after the murder of George Floyd last year. We had the pandemic.
You and I talked.
We had that. We had
extensively
so much
about
stuff
that.
going on. And then last year we, had an incident at Jonesboro Public Schools with a teacher and some stuff, and it just seemed like 2020 was just. But now,
it was a heck of a year.
Yeah, but now we're rolling into 2021, and we still see Black and brown communities disproportionately being harmed and sought out. Earlier this week in Atlanta, some people of Asian descent were killed. Now, though we don't know right now if it was a hate crime. We do know that there have been instances, especially since the coronavirus, that Asian people have been under attack in this country.
Because of like maybe tied to what country they potentially be
Correct.
from or culturally or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is not a indictment of the people in this area.
Would that be similar to after 9/11 and Muslim discrimination?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Would you think so?
Well, I'm just trying to put it in perspective here
Yeah.
because it's happened in the past
Yeah.
to other cultures.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. I think that we speak out, maybe not enough, but we speak out when we see Black people, African Americans in our country mistreated. Not everybody, but I think that we also forget that when we say Black and brown people, we mean Black people, we mean brown people,
Yeah.
we mean our Asian brothers and sisters, we mean our Middle Eastern brothers and sisters, we mean our Filipino brothers and sisters, our Mexican brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
We mean Black and brown people as a whole because this is happening. So I've just been kind of monitoring people's Facebook page, and I haven't seen very much of that.
Yeah, I have just recently and see what's interesting is how where you get your information from. It may not even be generated on your social media feed. Um, I get my information from, I'll go to Google and go to Google News, and usually it picks up the top headlines, and that's the number one headline right now. There's probably 5 or 6 different articles on that situation right there in Atlanta. So it is important to actively look for news because sometimes it's not going to come on your news feed, so you may not even see it. Which that could be a whole new conversation. Why is that not showing up on my news feed? What is my algorithm that's not allowing one of the most heinous stories in America right now to not show up on my news feed? That's a great question, and I don't know if that population wise, and I don't know the demographics of Asian American population. It's probably one of the lower, I guess, maybe statistically speaking. Maybe I don't know.
Do you know that?
Or should it matter? Or you know what I'm saying?
That ASU has one. Let me see if I can remember this correctly. ASU is a hub for international students.
Fully aware of that.
Asian students are the large majority of that. There's a large Middle Eastern population, and I just want the Black and brown communities. And when I say Black and brown now, I mean other than African Americans in our community to know that we are with them, and we think this is just as heinous as a Black man being killed.
Right. Totally agree
unfairly.
with that. Yeah. And the more you read about that situation, it gives me kind of chills because there's 2 things potentially going on there. A cultural bias situation, and also there seems to be a sexual component to that situation too, which even more gives me chills. That the more you read and learn and kind of get your head out of the sand, like I've alluded to in our earlier interview, that when you kind of go about your own business and there's crazy things happening on in the world until you actually get up and start looking around like, holy cow, why are these bad things happening? Why are people doing this to people? Why are people lashing out at people, and why? What is it? And you hear mental health, and that certainly needs to be addressed. It needs to be part of the conversation. In this situation, you're starting to hear this sexual trafficking, human trafficking component along with that, and which has its own unbelievable story to know that continues to exist. And then you have a potentially cultural, and I don't know. There's still more that they're learning about this situation. Is this a cultural hate crime? Is this a sexual trafficking situation? Is it what is this a mental health situation? There's so many complicated issues that are going on right now, and people are losing their life, and people are lashing out at people. And I don't know if you want to get biblical and say that this is mental health, or this is just we're a sinful nation and we have a sinful nature as humans. If you want to get biblical on that, I know that there's some, but there's certainly a mental health component to it. We can go either way you want to go on that.
We should go all of those ways.
And I can tell you that as long as humans walk this earth, there's going to be unbelievable things that humans do to other humans. It's happened from the start of humanity, and it will continue to happen to the end of humanity. And it behooves all of us to lock arms together and try to stop as much of it as possible.
So, talk to me about Meghan and Harry.
Ooh, I don't know if I can speak much intelligently on that. I know there was some controversy on race and skin color, and perception, in their native country versus our country, which I find it interesting that they are more accepted in America. At least we're improving some there. But I think that I would like for us to at least look at that and say, hey, maybe we have made some strides in America because they would prefer to be here. Um, it also exists, it shows you that humans are biased, humans are prejudiced, humans will discriminate. They will. We like to hang out with people who are just like us, talk like us, look like us, but we can choose to get outside of those boundaries, like we've already alluded to that, and get uncomfortable, and and that is the answer to that. So if you want to continue to be for life to be easy, just stay in the same circle, talk to the same people, do the same things, and life will be easy. But you'll never really grow.
Right.
You'll never really find common ground with somebody who's not like you. And so that's the answer. So the more we're able to do that, the more we're able to have those uncomfortable conversations, we'll grow. We'll grow.
So, Andy, I know that although the election is over, you have remained active in the community.
Well, yeah.
My show, can I finish?
Got it.
Okay, thanks. And Oprah never does that, does she? She never does that. Okay.
We're different.
And I think that's commendable. You've always been a community activist, and so I commend you for that. We're going to wrap it up, and I want to thank you for being here.
Okay.
But I want you to tell people who are watching this now and those that will go home and watch it later what you're doing tomorrow and why you're passionate about what you're doing tomorrow.
Well, we're having a cleanup. We did our little section to where we live in a couple of neighborhoods, and there's a lot of places in town that have trash all over the sides of the street, and I ride bikes a lot, and I see them like, why is there's like bottles and why is that? How hard is it to not throw something out of the window or not put something in the back of your truck and have it fly out? Maybe because we have a lot of pickup trucks and everybody throws crap in the back of the truck. They drive around town. So we're gonna have a cleanup tomorrow. Harrisburg Road. We do the little north section between the bypass and Highland, and I've got the trash grabbers from Danny Capalis. He's been wonderful to help us always, and I'll have the trash bags and everything.
Danny Capalis, Parks and Recreation.
Danny Capalis, Park and Recreation. He's wonderful.
Yes,
that dude has worked his tail off for the city of Jonesboro. He's done great things. We're going to meet out there by our Rosewood Estates sign at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll have the bags and the reachers.
Okay.
And wear something bright. I only have like 5 or 6 reachers. Honestly, it'll take 6 or 7 of us, like 2 hours, and we'll be done.
So Andy and a group of people will be out on Harrisburg Road.
Yeah, don't run us over,
in front
please.
of the Rosewood subdivision tomorrow morning
yeah.
at 9 o'clock to kind of do some cleaning. If you have 30 minutes to 45 minutes, we ask you to join them, and let's just come together for a better Jonesboro. I appreciate you guys being here with us. Thank you, Andy. You're welcome in my home. You're welcome wherever I am anytime because I love you.
I love you too.
We're going to be doing some more of these, so be looking for who we're going to interview next.